G'day folks, and welcome to the setup for the second scenario in Eylau 1807. This is Murat's massive cavalry charge. We are all set up and ready to go. In fact, I've had to set up for about 2 weeks now, finally getting the chance to get to it. Key feature of this scenario is the massive French cavalry you can see behind the lines here. I anticipate the key challenge for the French is going to be getting their cavalry to the front and pushing through the Russians. There's not a lot of room for maneuver. Now, look, it's going to be difficult to predict how this is going to unfold. You've got this activation system, drawing chits out of the bag. A lot of... What have we got here? We've got the French... 1st and 2nd Division of the 7th Corps here under attack orders, right? So they're kind of attacking in the center here. They probably have the best capacity to probably push out to the flanks, not necessarily the flanks, but to create a corridor for the cavalry to push through. But it depends on what the Russians do. The Russians have various orders. So this is the first scenario. We're not worrying about orders. This is the first scenario where there are predetermined orders for the various formations. And I'll bring the order sheet over so you can have a sense of can I, without messing it up? Here we go. This is the order sheet for the French army. So you can see most of them, the cavalry is under hold orders. But those 2 green divisions here under attack orders, and they are plonked right in the center of the French lines. So they are in the best position here to maybe prepare the way for this cavalry on a subsequent turn to push through. How they're going to do that, I don't know. Look, the Russians are under mixed orders, so I won't go through them in detail. There are no reinforcements in this scenario, so what you see is what you get. This is it, the units on the board, that's what we're fighting with. Now, in terms of victory, the Russian player wins if he controls the cemetery and has 20 units west of the street that runs from Eylau to the southern map edge. Okay, so he needs to capture that and then cross over this road. The French win by avoiding that. Okay, so the Russians are going to be attacking. French cavalry, and this is what motivated the cavalry charge, getting the cavalry in Murat to counterattack and slow and stop the Russians. We've got the guards out here on the left, right? So they're in a good position to hold that left flank. There's some space here. There's a direct path to the cemetery pretty much down through here. It's going to be a challenge. Like, these guys are all under hold orders. Right? Murat is there. Great. He's with the cavalry. He's ready to go right here. So they're ready to change orders to attack when the time is right. I don't know what to do with the infantry. Do I push up to meet the Russians, hold them? I think a lot of it will depend on the order. If the Russians go first, they'll be coming. If then they go second, they'll be coming even further. They may be right on the outskirts of the cemetery before the French can even react. On the other hand, if the French go first, they can push out a little bit, gain some ground, which is in effect buying some time. This is the valley down through here. Right, so we need to keep in mind that this is high ground. We're not going to worry too much about the flanks. So yeah, we've got some Russian and French out in the flanks, but nothing. There's not going to be any activity out here. It'll be mostly in the northern sector, around here, north and center, around the cemetery and just south of Eylau. And look, you can see the mass of Russian forces off in the distance. They just have so much depth, and well, I guess width as well. So it's going to be a challenge. There is a flexible setup, so I have had a lot of decisions to make in the setup, which happened, as I said, 2 weeks ago. I've tried, as you can see in this example here, I've tried to facilitate retreat paths because I knew from early experiences that when units retreat, they're often pushing other units out of the way if their path is blocked. So I've tried to give every unit, most units, a path of retreat as much as was practical, but so often it's just not practical. So I'm going to be, as things start to move, I'm going to be very mindful of spacing and really try to further support and facilitate those lines of retreat from the front. Units are often retreating, particularly with this cavalry. I mean, as soon as they get engaged, they'll be forcing Russian retreats, I anticipate. It's going to be very interesting. It could unfold in so many different ways. And I feel like the first couple of turns, let me point out, sorry, I'm saying all this stuff about, it depends on what happens, but we put aside 1 fire combat and 1 Russian action cube, and the Russians go first. So we know the Russians are going to go first, they're going to activate first, they're going to come forward. So the French won't get that opportunity to push forward. And I anticipate, all right, so we've got Russian guns up here. Look, it might be right in the center here. It might be these guys right here. Yeah, it's also weather. It's snow for the first turn, which is going to limit visibility. There's a lot of these contextual factors that, and again, the opening is going to be critical. Okay, so to reiterate, Russians are going to try and charge through here. They're going to try and capture the cemetery, try and push the French aside. I think their plan is trying to drive a wedge between the guards, almost open a path to the cavalry, and seize this high ground around here. That's probably the easiest, right in front of this mass of French cavalry. Okay, let's entertain alternative plans. They could alternatively try to push south and then west and push the French infantry back into the path. So force the French to defend along here, which kind of blocks that path. The French have been really trying to set the French to give that path, but if the Russians can be mindful of this and try and swing south and then west, force the infantry back, force the line of fighting along here, in effect right in front of the cavalry, to minimize the space for that cavalry to countercharge. That could be really interesting if that happens. Probably more difficult to employ. Look, there's guards, cavalry out on the flank as well. So these guys, this is the second. They have to be careful as they advance. If they come too far south, huge guard cavalry could easily swing around and hit them in the flanks. Where is the Russian cavalry? They're kind of scattered all over the place. So some down here, way down south here. They're a long way from the cemetery. So it could be interesting. Look, there's a lot that could happen. As I said, it's hard to predict what's going to happen. I think we'll just have to roll with it, see how the activation cubes come out, and I will report back soon. All right, thanks for watching, folks, and take care.